everyone. Welcome to the Top Lessons podcast. I am your host, Kathy Inglot, and with me is a very special guest. She is the sleep expert. Welcome to the show, Dr. Funke Afolabi-Brown. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so happy that you're here with me because I think so many of my listeners will be able to share some of your tips, your lessons of how to get optimal performance and sleep so that we can all get that restful sleep that we all want and desire. And every one of us is terrible at sleep habits. So before we start, I wanted to actually make sure that everyone knows how accomplished you are. You are a triple board certified sleep medicine physician. You are a clinician, speaker, consultant, coach, mommy, and you have been trying to help professionals and children prioritize sleep to thrive, achieve optimal health, and live to their fullest potential. Now, you have been in practice for almost 2 decades, and you, as I said, you're a mom of 2 who, like many of us, have struggled to find how to get best sleep for not just ourselves, but also our children. You fully understand what sleep deprivation does to our physical, mental, and emotional health. And that is why I'm so excited to have you here on the show. You obviously have been a frequent speaker at many conferences. You've been on ABC, and you are across organizations and businesses to try and achieve improved employee health by optimizing sleep and healthy habits of sleep. So I am so happy that you're here because, one, I want everyone to be able to share this podcast with their loved ones, with their families and their friends, and be able to say, listen to the sleep expert. She knows what she's doing. She's done it for years and years. And we're able to show and tell the myths that everyone misunderstands, but also focus on the habits that you so eloquently will tell us how to achieve that optimal sleep. So if we could start a little bit of how did you get to be a sleep expert? Why sleep?
Well, my story is kind of similar to many people where whatever you experience that was a pain point for you becomes your message. So I, as you can tell, a high achieving professional doing all the things, trying to heal people, and then started off to try to serve my family, take care of them, and, had the kids, but still trying to climb up that career ladder, and then realizing that I was so burnt out. I was tired, so tired of being tired. And so I realized there were a few things I needed to do other than just hit the wall and quit. And one of those things was setting boundaries. And so sleep was something I realized I was very sensitive to. And so I started to prioritize my sleep. I started to set boundaries around my sleep. I started to work on getting my kids to sleep better. And once I did that, literally, my mental health got better. I was more functional. I could think clearly. I could do so much more. I was exercising better. I was making better choices. And so it became this issue of you can't unsee such a good thing and you want everyone around you to experience the same. Because I knew I was not the only one going through those kind of struggles. And so that became my mission to help other people, especially women, women with kids, professionals, and things like that, get better rest.
No, and I love that because we no matter what career we're in, right? I think we could all sympathize with what you just said. We're tired from being tired. And I think that's a great quote, right? Because I could tell you, my background is Wall Street and you were always expected to be early in the office, late to leave. I also went to night law school. So by the time I got home, I literally had minimal hours to myself. And then you were the hamster wheels to go back and do it the next day, right? And you go, what I always said, I'll catch up on the weekend, which is hysterical, and we'll talk about it later. But it's that kind of, whether you're a career woman or man, or whether you're, a mom who's probably has the hardest job to raise kids, or whether you're anywhere in between, right? Sleep is so important for us to be able to fully optimize our best self. And I think the lessons that I'm going to ask you to share as to you've had 2 decades of this expertise already. So if you don't mind going through some of the top lessons you have learned in your business as an entrepreneur, and all the people that have come across you to say, please fix me, help me. What are the top lessons that you can share with us about getting the best sleep?
Yeah, so a few things I would start with would be, or the number one thing I would start with is the mindset. You have to start by realizing like your sleep is one of the best investments. Your rest is one of the best investments you can make in being able to pour back into whatever mission you're trying to pursue. And so when you realize that, you become very, I mean, almost like territorial about how you manage your time, right? I always say this, like sleeping well and prioritizing sleep is one of the best tools you can use in optimizing and fixing your time management issues. Because if you count backwards and say, okay, I need maybe 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Okay, maybe you're a short sleeper and you need 7 hours. That means no matter what happens, I need to be in bed by, if I wake up at 6 a.m., I need to be in bed by, I don't know, 11 p.m. or something. Guess what you're going to try to do? You're going to try to be effective enough to make sure that you're asleep by 11. And so all of a sudden,
Yeah.
all the things you were sort of like dilly-dallying about, you become more efficient with that. So I think that mindset is big. The second thing I would say is consistency. When we have a consistent sleep wake schedule, we are actually training our internal clocks to anticipate sleep and anticipate wake up. And so that really reduces the fatigue people have. If you have a sleep schedule that's kind of all over the place, you tend to have more fatigue. You tend to have more disruption in
Yes.
your internal clock. So making sure that you're consistent with your sleep time and wake up time is another thing. Then
I love that because I know for a fact when I have that like roller coaster of sleep during the week
yeah,
where 4 hours one night, 7 hours another night,
yeah,
I'm exhausted.
yes,
And you go, how do I fix it? And to your thing, consistency, right?
yeah,
If you have that day and you go, I know I need to block this time out for a day, just as we block out meetings, right?
yes,
We need that same consistency in our night regiment.
yes.
And I love the fact that you have this amazing acronym. If we could talk about your acronym, because I'm a person of acronyms and Wall Street has all its acronyms. So the fact that you have an acronym, I think will stick with people and be like, yes, we'll remember this forever. So can we talk about your acronym?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's very easy. It's easy to remember. So the mindset is not part of that, but even just overall, I think you understand
Yes.
why the mindset kind of works its way through. So the acronym is CREATE. That's C as in cat, REAT as in Tom E. And I'll tell you what it means. I'm a lover of acronyms too. So C is the consistent sleep time and wake time I talked about. The next is R, which is a routine. So many of us have routines for our little ones. We read them a book, we have their bath, we sing songs, we cuddle and go to bed. And then we just get into bed and try to fall asleep. And so if you have a routine where you are doing things for yourself, especially if you've had a very busy day and you've been doing things for everybody else, having a bedtime routine, 2 or 3 calming activities that lead you in the direction of the bedroom will be a big game changer for your sleep. Again, it's cueing your body to
Yeah.
anticipate sleep. It's a ritual. So that's R. Then E is the environment. So you want to try to optimize your environment as much as possible. You want your bedroom to be cool. You want it to be dark and to noise free. All those things can disrupt your sleep quality. And many times you don't pay attention to it, but you might be waking up a lot because you're hot, or you might be waking up a lot because it's noisy outside. And so investing in, blackout shades, making sure your room is cool enough, making sure that, if you have a white noise machine or something that helps to block out any external noise is a great way to optimize your environment. And then A stands for assign the bed for sleep and sleep only in bed. The reason why, again, is many times we use the bed for everything else but sleep. The bed becomes where you're
Yeah.
worrying. It becomes where you're arguing with your spouse. It becomes where you're eating, maybe finishing up a snack or watching
Yeah. No one
TV.
wants a pizza in bed.
Many people have their TV in their room, so they're watching TV in bed or they're doing work. Maybe you have some emails you want to finish answering. And when you do all those things in bed, it makes your brain very confused because now your brain is thinking, oh, maybe we're not supposed to be sleeping. Maybe we're supposed to be awake doing work,
Yeah.
right? So you want to keep only sleep activities in bed. Then T is the technology. And that's a whole episode, right? We all know how technology...
We could talk about this for 10 podcasts.
Exactly. So technology can be a very big disruptor when it comes to... The reason why is multiple fold, right? The stimulating activity from your phone or from the devices you're using will keep you up. And then there's the blue light, which suppresses your brain's ability to produce melatonin. So that's another one. And then just the fact that you might say, oh, I'm just going to watch one episode of X, or I'm just going to go through a few posts on social media. And it just sucks your time away and you lose track of time and you find out, oh my gosh, it's already midnight and I'm not asleep.
Mindless scrolling.
Yes.
My habit I need to kick. It is absolutely a habit that I'm aware of, and I'm trying my best to get away with. I yell at myself to be like 5 minutes. I said 5 minutes and now it's like 20 minutes later. And I'm afraid of putting my phone in another room because then I won't hear, emergency calls or something.
Yeah.
But I also know I need like stronger willpower to say no to that thing.
It's a very hard thing to kick. So what I usually will recommend is build it into your routine so that you don't feel like you're trying to deprive yourself of something you enjoy. Like,
yeah,
it's actually something that's enjoyable, especially for busy women, right? You just want that little time. But if you build it and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to just have some, maybe social media time, maybe whatever, catch up time on my phone. And I'm going to do that before I start my bedtime routine. So that way you're in control. And you may need to set a timer. Another trick that people use is you switch your phone to grayscale. It works like a charm. Because if you go to the settings function of your phone, there's certain settings that can actually switch to grayscale. It's right in the internal settings. It is hard to scroll mindlessly looking at gray and white stuff. It's the color, the vibrant colors that keeps you attached.
I'm doing that tonight. I'm literally going to lesson learned today for myself, grayscaling.
Yes.
And I'm going to send you the biggest thank you if that works, because
it works. You need to let me know.
I was going to say, timer, that makes sense. I could do that.
Yeah.
But then grayscale is probably going to be quicker and better, so I'm going to do that first.
Yes. Do the grayscale.
Amazing. Yep. So,
and then the last E is the eliminate, right? You have to kind of take stock of what you're doing to figure out why you're not sleeping. So it might be, exercise, that you're exercising too close to bedtime. It might be caffeine. It might be alcohol. So eliminating those things that can impact your sleep quality.
And amen to that, because we know there's so many of those on that list that we can eliminate. But for everyone listening, this acronym is so powerful. The CREATE acronym. If we all pay attention to those letters and what they stand for, we could get so much better sleep, or at least in my mind, consistent sleep, where, I'm not doing what I do every night, where it's the roller coaster of sleep every single week. And you go, I'll catch up on Saturday. And you go, well, we're going to talk about it now. Does catch-up sleep work, doctor?
So here's what I say, and I think I've heard a few colleagues say it, and I just say it as well now, which is that sleep is not a bank. You can't
save your sleep
I'm just going to catch up. I'm just going to deposit on sleep for the weekend and hope that will last me the entire week. At least not intentionally. So if you do the math, it doesn't add up, right? If you're only sleeping 5 hours during the week, you'll be deficit by the end of the week by maybe 10 hours.
Yeah.
And most times, even when you try to catch up during the weekend, you're probably maybe sleeping an extra 2 hours or 3 hours. So you will always be in deficit. So I would rather you do this. Try to be more intentional about your sleep during the week, and it won't be perfect. And if you need to sneak in maybe 1 hour, 2 hours extra on the weekends, it's okay. But don't intentionally make yourself short on sleep on the weekdays with the intention of hoping to catch up on the weekend. The math is not going to math.
I love it. And that is a myth, everyone. It is a myth. As doctor said, you cannot bank your sleep hours. It's not a game. We can't save it, and come back to it. So keep that consistency in the back of your mind to schedule your sleep accordingly. Now, I love this phrase because Arianna Huffington said this: exhaustion is a sign of chaos. And I use the word hangry all the time because when I'm hungry, I'm hangry. And when you're sleep deprived, you're definitely sleep angry. And I know how I am and I know how other people are because I could literally almost say, did you eat? And if you didn't, you're hangry, or did you not get enough sleep? Especially, I think, more for children. So I think moms out there, when your child hasn't slept well, you know what's coming the next day. They're going to be angry because they did not get a restful night of sleep. So are there lessons to learn about how do we get optimal sleep when it comes to not having that chaos be the result of it? Is there anything quick and dirty that you can teach us, especially maybe for the moms listening, to get better sleep for children?
Oh, yes, quite a number. I would say boundary setting is the first, because depending on the age of the child, you might have a toddler or a school-age child who wants to push limits. I usually say they have FOMO, right? They feel like, well, I don't want to go to sleep. I want to tell you about my day. I want another hug. I need I need you to tuck me in again. I need to use a bathroom. So you have to set boundaries to say, okay, maybe one request you get. And then after that, we're done. You know, we're going to have to resume this tomorrow. One quick way to address that, I use what I call the bedtime pass. So you can create the bedtime pass is literally you just cut some paper up. Your child puts it, maybe one or two, and those are their bedtime passes. They put it right by their bed. And if they have one request, they have to give up that pass. So they trade it in. So if they come and say, I want to tell you something, okay, you'll say, okay, you want to tell me something? Sure, but you have to give me your pass. Are you sure you want to use your pass? And so they start to think, oh, wait, I don't think that's
No,
worth
that's
using my
amazing.
pass.
I love that. I mean, it really does, kind of teach the child how to prioritize their
Yes.
passes, right? To be like, wait, maybe not tonight. Maybe I need it for tomorrow.
Exactly.
And let me run and go back to bed.
Exactly.
I love that. And for all the moms and dads out there who are trying to figure out sleep time, use this. And I promise you, you will love Dr. Brown for it later, because I could tell you, and everyone can laugh at me. So I don't have any children, but I have a 4-legged child. It's a little chihuahua named Brutus. And he sees the bed, and to him, it's like magic. He knows it's sleep time. He does sleep with us, which I'll leave everyone's comments on the side for that. But he sees the bed, like you said. He knows the bed equals sleep in his mind. And when I tell you that dog passes out within 2 minutes, it's magic. And I've never taught him this. It's self-taught because he can't get on the bed himself. He needs to be put on the bed because it's pretty high. So when he gets put on the bed, it's for sleep. He's not there during the day, so he doesn't know that is, nothing else but sleep. And I think the power of CREATE and your acronym is the definition of where the sleep should happen. It's in bed.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, I have this amazing reminder that the more tired you are, the more suboptimal you perform. But I think we lie to ourselves and we say that's not true, right? Like if I do one more hour of whatever it is I'm doing and cut it from my sleep, I'm going to be better during the day. And we know that doesn't happen. There's pilot FAA regulations that if a pilot flies more than 8 hours by himself or by herself, they can't go on the next flight, right? There's truck driving rules that if a truck driver is in the cab for more than X amount of hours, they cannot continue driving without more sleep. And we think of ourselves as to why would you go and turn on a car, which is literally, a potential crash and a potential tragic accident. And we're thinking we're doing okay being that way when we're just walking and going to work and performing the same kind of skill that we may need for driving or flying. So I think when we put it in that extreme context of, pilot versus you, the worker in the office, we think those are not the same, but yet in my eyes, when you break it down as to exhaustion, it's very much the same ask, right? You don't want your cardiologist operating on you when they haven't slept and you're, patient number 20 and you're like, don't worry, I'll just fight through it. And you're like, put that scalpel down. Maybe we'll do this tomorrow. Right? Versus the person who's flying your, 300 passenger plane and you go, I really need to get somewhere, but you're like, but you shouldn't because you're exhausted. So you go, the highest performance has to have the highest optimal sleep. And I think your words of, create and the acronym and all of the lessons are so powerful that whether you're a child or whether you're an adult, we just need to all do better to perform better. I have worked on Wall Street for many years, and I could tell you that the formula of most Wall Street people is, very little sleep. You eat caffeine and and you eat calories and drink caffeine just to get through the day as much as you can. I used to have like 4 cups of coffee during the day. And my doctor finally said, you need to cut that out because your heart's racing and you can't perform this way. And he's like, how many hours of sleep did you get? I'd be like 4, 5 at the best day. He's like, you're going to have a heart attack. You're literally setting yourself for a heart attack. And I said, well, I can't die now. I'm like, I'm nowhere near the career path I want to be. So I literally listened to those words and I cut down from 4 cups to 1 cup of coffee. And I said, what else can I do? And the answer was sleep. I literally answered my own way. And I said, the answer is sleep and it has to be sleep. So doctor, because I know you have the words of wisdom, what other lessons can you share with us as to why sleep is so vital to us? Because all these careers that I just mentioned are so important. But also for the everyday person that has whatever career path that they're in, why is sleep important to their success?
Everything you said resonated with me. It is so. Number one, I want you to know that sleep is and will always be the ultimate performance enhancing tool. It is not caffeine.
Amen.
It's not your Adderall or stimulants. It is sleep because it naturally promotes alertness. It naturally decreases your stress level. It naturally helps you remember things and become more creative and work better as a team. It naturally helps regulate your emotions and your metabolism. All of it. Sleep. And the other thing you said around people that have these high risk careers, and what I always tell my clients and people I work with is the busier you are, the more important your role, the more sleep you got to get, or at least ensure you prioritize your sleep. So, to your role, you're a mom of anything, 4-legged creatures, 2-legged creatures,
Yeah.
that is an important role. So, you got to get sleep because these creatures, the kids, right, are depending on you to be your best, to teach them, to nurture them, right? You work on Wall Street. You're a career person. You're making thousands of decisions every day. Guess what you need for critical decision making? Good sleep. So it is so important. In fact, we lose millions annually. In fact, no, billions with a B as a result of poor sleep. If you have an organization where everybody's deprived, they may show up at work, but they're not at work.
Correct.
So they're losing money because they're not able to perform at their ultimate. They're losing money because a lot of them now have hypertension and diabetes and obesity that you're paying for in their healthcare insurance. And they're losing money because sometimes they're sick or they get into an accident and now, they got to pay for all those things. So
now, and I think you hit something on the head because the first thing you mentioned is the drugs, kind of what people take to like perform better, right? The Adderalls of the world or whatever else you may be taking. And we all need to take the drug of sleep, right? I love that context of what you just phrased, because you literally are like, you don't need supplements or these other things over the counter or not over the counter. You need things that are literally in your bed, on your pillow, and you can get it by getting that extra 2-3 hours of sleep because you're choosing not to, right? It's the choice. And I think everyone needs to kind of just simmer down and say, I choose this, and that this is sleep. And when you choose something else, you're sacrificing something else instead of that. So the sacrifice is there, no matter what it is that we try and lie to ourselves about, right? And you go, why would you go to your work? And look, I said the extreme as a pilot or, a surgeon or, the truck driver. Those are the extremes where we literally see on, news headlines, truck driver kills X amount because of sleep deprivation, right? But you go, I too am sleep deprived. What was my consequence? And the consequences could be that your children see that you're angry, or in my case, sleep hangry, right? Or whatever it is that you're doing that isn't done well. And at work, you're snappy, you're just mean to people. And you go, well, that wasn't you, right? That's you because you didn't sleep well. And I think all of us have this easy solution. And I'm calling it easy because it's something that we can fix and control. There's so many external factors that we sometimes can't control. But this, for the main fact, is a controllable issue within ourselves. As like you said, turn off that TV if it's in your bedroom, right? Make the bed equal sleep, like my dog Brutus does. It's those simple tweaks that we can do to get those extra hours of good sleep. Now, I also have a question, but I don't know if you're going to have the perfect answer to my crazy thoughts. And sometimes, how do we get those terrible nightmares out of our heads? And do you have anything that gets you better sleep without those crazy dreams sometimes we all have?
So dreams are a very interesting phenomenon. There are different things that cause them. Sometimes it's a result of experiences we had during the day and unprocessed emotions. So whatever you can do with processing those emotions, this may look like practicing mindfulness at bedtime, so being proactive about them. Going through your day, practicing gratitude, making a list of things that maybe you hoped to do today and maybe you'll do it tomorrow. I'm talking to a therapist, accessing, evaluating your mental health. That's a big one.
Yeah.
The other piece that many people often don't realize is that sometimes you're waking up remembering your dreams. So everybody has dreams. Some people say they don't remember their dreams, but everybody does. But you are waking up and maybe remembering your dream because you're waking up frequently. Many times dreams occur in the stage of sleep we call REM sleep, REM sleep. And during REM sleep, that's the stage of sleep, your muscles are paralyzed, your body is super relaxed. So sometimes you're waking up out of REM because something disrupted you. It can be a sleep disorder like sleep apnea, where you have pauses in your breathing during sleep because your airway muscles are relaxed and you're not able to breathe properly. So if you notice recurrent dreams and, you've addressed like the mental health piece, trauma, all of that, or you've not, it might be worth exploring and saying, do I have a sleep disorder that's pushing me to wake up frequently enough to remember these dreams? Trauma is a big piece. So finding like a trauma-informed therapist as well is really important. And when we've done all those things, especially if you have nightmares, there's a type of treatment called image rehearsal therapy. So it's a specific therapy for nightmares. So that might be something you may want to explore as well. So again, there are multiple levels to it, and there's so many reasons why this happens.
I love it. And the lessons are so vital for that too, because, we all want a restful sleep. So we're like, why can't I get it when I'm in bed for 7 hours, right? And you go, well, you may have, like you said, issues or trauma or things you haven't talked through that you're just, rehearsing your mind at night and they're causing you that restless sleep. But I think there's so many wonderful lessons you have shared with us in this time. And I think everyone should realize of how much of an expert you are in sleep and go to your website and check out RestfulSleepMD to be able to contact you to say, hey, my child may need help, or I need help because I've done all the things you've said to do, but I still can't figure it out, right? And I think this is where your expertise and your own business can help someone to be able to kind of, resolve that issue and be able to get a good night's sleep. Because I love the commercial. I don't know if you've seen this one recently, where I think it's NyQuil, where, someone is sick and they say, take NyQuil and you'll sleep like you slept when you didn't have children. And it's like the best commercial for like, everyone understands that sleep.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, I know. I remember those days. And you go, I'm going to take NyQuil. There you go. Because it does knock you out for a good amount of time when you're sick. But some people, also use it as a sleep aid because they're like, I can't just fall asleep, right? I'm staring at the ceiling for an hour or two. So let me take that sleep aid. And I know for a fact sleep aids do help, but they're also very, synthetic in the way that they work.
Absolutely.
And I don't encourage anyone to take those. I think, like what you just said, deal with whatever is that underlying issue so that you don't need those supplements or those synthetics to help you fall asleep.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's all about going to the root cause. Where is it coming from? Like it's a band-aid, all the supplements. Short term, like you said, if you're sick, it might help. But it's very easily habit forming as well. People now become dependent on it and they're not able to sleep without using a sleep aid.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we can all learn from our lessons today as to how great of an expert you are and all the tips you've shared with us to be able to get a better restful sleep. So on that note, Dr. Afolabi-Brown, thank you so much for being here with me today and for sharing your expertise with the audience. And I do hope that if we have questions or anyone wants to follow up with you, that we're going to link all your links, Instagram, your book, everything, so that everyone can actually turn to you as the expert and get your help if necessary offline. But also, you do so many things during the year that like people can find you, attend your conference, attend where you speak. And I hope that this is just the beginning of where our relationship can extend later if people please have her talk about this topic. And I think one of the things I wanted to underline is you are really also a child expert in sleep. And optimal performance for children and their sleep. So if anyone has children issues or wants to fix an issue, please reach out to Dr. Brown to be able to, help you and your child both address the issues that you may have. So on that note, Doctor, thank you so much for your expertise on the show today. I look forward to our growing comments and people's responses to the show. And I hope to see you soon again for a follow-up if we have all the interest and topics going forward. But for those of you listening, please subscribe to both Dr. Brown and myself. We'll send the links, and also like and comment if you have any questions for her or me or both of us. Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Have a great one.